G'day, wherever you are in the world of the interwebs. This is Tony Jack the Bear Man's back for another podcast of Mastering Music, Mastering Life. And before we start, Klaus Hill is on the show today, my mate Klaus. How's that for a really formal, spectacular, fucking great, deserving intro, Klaus? Huh?
Mate, keep it casual, eh? Keep it casual.
Keep it casual, mate. But before we roll, mate, I just want to say, first of all, thank you very much to the Cave Hub in Bond Street, Abbotsford. So for those of you people who are looking to do serious pre-production work, music rehearsals, any kind of pre-production, they've got a fantastic facility down there. It's licensed. They've got a big stage. They've got an awesome PA and the Farnham boys who are just working so hard down there and doing lots and lots of good stuff for the local music community. So go down, check them out. It's a beautiful facility. And I think for our city, it's a perfect size venue for those medium-sized 350. You get just a great vibe and a feel in there. So Cave Hub, Bond Street, Abbotsford. Go say g'day to the boys and check them out. They're doing good things for our local community. So thank you very much to the Cave Hub and also to George Soteropoulos at Amiga Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, where I go and attempt to do my thing in a new style. It's going to be called Beached Walrus Jiu-Jitsu, Klaus. It's going to be a thing, dude. I'm telling you now. Anyway, welcome, buddy. So good to have you here.
Thanks very much for having me, mate.
Absolute pleasure. You know, Klaus, I remember the first time we spoke, you were just starting out. I remember, the first time I ever come across you, you were a guy who was really doing you were right at the forefront of doing breaks production when breaks was a really big thing back in the.
That's right, mate. You mastered my records. You used to master my records. That's what you did.
I was guilty of that. And you and I just struck up a friendship and I remember you always had an interest in, doing better production and you wanted to sort of expand into mastering. And I was always very supportive of you doing that. And to see you go from a young guy on the tear to now, your label, you got the studio, you're killing it in the production, killing it in the mastering. You're owning shit at the moment. You've got a wonderful online community, which is the Klaus Heavyweight Hill, bassology, masterology. It's just you got it all happening there. You got how many members you got on your Facebook community?
The Facebook group, the Heavyweight Bass is the blog, which it's kind of like a separate thing to my work, but you know what it's like. It's not. It's like this for you. It all blends in together anyway. But we've got over 10,000 members. But we got, from up and comers right the way through to some of the best in the business, top producers and mix engineers and mastering guys all in there, all with the aim of, talking about gear, helping the youngsters out, improving skills and just being there really, just a community, a decent community with no bullshit.
I think it's very true. And you've been really good at moderating and the other people online who've been moderating because I've noticed that the tolerance of bullshit is pretty much zero. And it's very refreshing, mate, because you know what it's like on internet. You get a lot of keyboard warriors, lots of people who are really good at sniping. And some people they've got sad lives and have nothing better to do than to just cast shit all over the place. But it's great that you managed to keep all the noise down to a minimum and love to see particularly the encouragement that guys like yourself, the older cats who jump in there and are supportive of the young guys. It's very daunting, isn't it, for when you're starting out to jump in there, ask questions because you don't want to sound like you're asking stupid questions and you don't want to embarrass yourself. But I just love the supportive vibe that happens in your place, mate.
We keep it. We keep that open. We have some very strict rules for posting questions, but they're in place for a reason because it makes you think about the question that you're going to ask. Before you start, oh yeah, how do I make this sound, or how do I make this, this bass sound at 3 minutes 20 in this track? But we don't allow tracks to be posted. We want people to think about their question, and 9 times out of 10, while they're thinking about that and constructing the question, they have an epiphany moment anyway, a light bulb moment, and it goes, and the question gets expanded, or they've answered the problem themselves, and then the question develops. So it opens up for more discussion as well. And we've been very strict with that, and we've got a good team of mods that all give their time. We've got some top engineers that help out, replying and posting on the article, posting on the blog as well. So yeah, I mean, it takes up a lot of time, but I think it's worthwhile.
So how did it begin? Sorry, Klaus. Sorry, I'll let you finish what you were saying, because you were rudely speaking while I was interrupting. I'm sorry, mate.
That's right, mate. It's just about helping the next generation, isn't it? Making sure that look, I think my reply now will carry into the to your question that you just posed. How did it start? I mean, look, it's for me, when we started out back in London in the UK, there was a community, and our community was based around the record shops, going into the vinyl shops and buying your records. And then you would meet people from there, like-minded people that were into the same music as you, or into the DJing, and the same as playing on pirate radio station back home. There was a community, and we used to be out every Wednesday was white label day. The trucks, the vinyl distribution and SRD and all that, their trucks would be out delivering the white label. So we'd be in the shops picking up the promos before the else, and you meet people. And then those connections that expand out, that you'll get in the studio with someone, and then you network and you start going. That whole community is gone. There's none of that anymore. And that's so important. So that's why, we set the group up. Well, I set the blog up. The blog was about posting some no-nonsense thoughts of the day, tips and advice on production and other bits and pieces. And the Facebook group was a sort of offshoot of that, but now it's the Facebook group has taken over. It takes up more time just posting stuff in the group and doing the stuff that we do in there than the blog. And it's kind of all the blog content comes from the group now, which is great. So that's why it's set up. It's about helping youngsters, about making sure people get the right information, and the networking, because that's just really not there anymore. I don't know what Australia was like, because I came over here in 2003. So it was only a few years before the whole vinyl thing died. So, but for me, the whole dance music community that I'm involved in, it all revolves around the local record shop. We used to get on the tube up into London to go through the cycle of all the record shops,
yeah,
to go and get the white labels and that. And that's how I met everybody in my scene, in the break scene. I met them all via the jungle scene, because it was before the break scene sort of hit up, and and those kind of things. Networking. So that's why we set it up, was just to have that kind of community where people can ask questions and not feel stupid about asking them as well.
Yeah, I think it's very, very, very admirable, mate, because I can appreciate how much work is involved in doing these things. And for the most part, there's no real actual return in terms of finances. I mean, there's other returns, which is goodwill, and goodwill, helps you, and it can bring in work indirectly. But it's a lot of fucking work, though, mate. If you don't love it, you just won't do it to the same degree and with the same passion and same input. And that's the thing, mate, isn't it? It's I think we do this kind of work because we're not driven by money. We got to live, and we've got to be business minded and all. But unless we really love this shit, mate, unless we're prepared to not even look at it as work,
If you're doing this shit for money, then you're fucking mental, basically. You got to be doing this for the right reasons, whether it's producing, mixing, mastering, doing whatever. You're not. You might as well go and work in a bank or in a city if it's about money. This is why I always say to all the young producers as well, is about, when people are saying, I want to do this, I want to be a top producer and DJ and stuff like that, but people can see through the bullshit, and they can hear the bullshit in the music as well. And so you've got to be doing it for the right reasons, because all of it comes across in your art and in what you do. So if you're trying to do this stuff for the music, if you're trying to do this for the money, then yeah, you might as well jog on, because it ain't there.
Yeah. I just don't think you'll last anyway, mate. You won't. People will see you and call you out, and you won't last. It's simple as that. We've seen them come and seen them go, haven't we, mate?
Absolutely, mate. I don't begrudge anybody making a good living out of this. I don't begrudge any of these people out there signing big deals to be residents in Vegas casinos and people slagging other DJs and artists off on Facebook and jealousy and stuff. Don't begrudge them if they put the graft in. And it's all about the graft. Put the time in, do it for the right reasons. And yeah, you know, it's important. It's an important aspect of it. It's people's genuine attitude and feelings come across in their art, you know, and their vibe. So if you're a dickhead, people know it.
Yeah, most definitely. So tell me, mate, in this current day and age of, you know, with the way budgets are and overall and sales and all that kind of gizmo, how do you manage to survive? I mean, you're not just surviving, you're killing it. And particularly in a scene where is not really known for people that are prepared to spend a lot, because, well, I guess it all comes down to economics, and I understand that. But you seem to be really doing well in an area that for quite a while back, I kind of purposely walked away, and I've leaned more into doing I still get to do electronic music and dance music, not to the same extent as you. I mean, you're pretty much the don of it all now. So how do you manage to make a living out of a scene that is obviously, you know, there's not as much money going around the pool, mate? So how do you make it work?
Yeah, I've lost your volume, mate. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me now?
Yeah, no, you're back. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
That's all right.
You cut out. So I heard the questions of how am I making a living? How am I making a living in the scene that I'm in, where the economics of it all are a little bit tougher? Yeah, you're right. Well, you have to know your market and your price point. And I worked that out a long time ago that I don't venture outside of dance music. You know, that's the area that I know. That's the market that I work in. That's the music I know, and I know how that's supposed to sound, and that's what I'm good at. I don't try and venture out into, you know, stuff that jazz or rock or anything like that. I'd never even touch it. I wouldn't even know where to go. So I just worked out my price point, and I've got a price point that I know I can run my business at and still make it affordable. And then I've got flexibility. I've got a price point for my indie artists and labels, which I've always had, which is very reasonable. I've got flexibility on that as well with people, you know, my regular clients and, you know, new labels and stuff. I do it, you know, better deals with them as well. And I'm lucky now in the last couple of years, because the reputation has got up, that I pick up quite a lot of work from major labels now, where you can, you know, the work is a bit more, you know, it's like with majors, you can charge more, not just because they're majors, but just because of what they want, you know, the packaging that they want, and the pack, you know, it's not single tracks that are coming in from them. It's, you know, it's whole packages. So, no. And that's able to supplement it all, but it's just about knowing your market.
Yeah. So
and working fucking long hours, basically. So I'm in here, I get in at 6 a.m. I do 3 hours before having to do the school run. Then I do the school run. So I've got two kids, 8 and 3. So one goes to daycare, the other one goes to school. Then I'm back in here. Then I work all the way here from 9:30 through till 3:30. Stop for half an hour. Get a snack ready for my daughter when she gets home. Work again till 5. Pick up the youngest. Then I'm back in and I'm working through till 10, 11, 12 o'clock once I've done that. So, yeah, look, I mean, you have to put the hours in. So I'm doing 12, 13, 14-hour days to get through, just because I'm busy, and also just, you know, it's your price point, isn't it? You know, yeah. you can sit there and be satisfied with it, but yeah, that's how I do it. I just work fucking hard.
It is hard work. I remember when I first started out, I was probably averaging, this is like in the early 90s, I was averaging, I think for the first 4 years, about 4 hours sleep and a night on average for 4 years, and hardly took a day off just to get things off the ground. So That's what it takes, man. And if and that's why you got to love it, because you're not going to do 14 hours a day, as 15 hours a day, as you do. Hey, let me ask you a question. This is, how do you manage your work and your family life? Because a lot of guys who have families, it's hard. It's hard to have kids around. I know it was hard for me. So how do you manage it all? Is it just with the early starts and all?
It's been tough. Took a long time for me to work out a good life family balance. The big thing was for me was working from home. That I've been the first move was having a studio closer to home. Originally, it was like I had to do the old public transport in or drive in from where I was originally. Then I got a studio closer to home, which was so it's all a 10-minute walk. Now I'm at home, makes it all a little bit easier. I mean, this job is 7 days, really. I mean, it's just what it is. I've been working today. I was working yesterday, but you've got to make the time. And my wife just lets me know when I'm taking the piss, basically. But like today, I worked this morning. I did like 3 hours this morning just to get ahead for tomorrow. We went out for dinner last night. We went to the movies and stuff. You have to make time. That's what I've learned. Like, if you keep saying, I've got to work, I'm busy, it just goes downhill from there. So my thing was, it took me a long time, but it's literally forcing myself to make the time. And also, I'm lucky working from home has made a big difference. Especially with the kids, because I'm around to do that. And I probably get to spend during the weekdays. I spend more time with the kids than my wife, because she's got to travel into the city, because we're like an hour outside, now. So she's got to travel into Sydney for work. So everybody makes sacrifices, but hopefully the payoff down the line is can ease off a bit in the next couple of years. Bring someone else in. I'm out to bring a youngster in and hopefully try and start, training them up. That's always the aim, isn't it? It's like, for me, it's always about bringing. We used to call it back home in the scene. It was always the bring in. It's a record label. If they brought you in, the bring in to help push you through. And it's the same in this. It's like, hopefully bring someone in, teach them, and you can ease off a little bit. And that's hopefully the aim. But yeah, it's a tough one, mate. It is a tough one.
Yeah, but you're doing well with it, mate. I mean, look, how old are you now? 46, 47?
Well, yeah, 46. I took 46 on the 20th, 10 days ago or 12 days ago, whatever it was. Or
I think
my message.
I think you're
doing 20th of January. I turned 46.
I think you're doing remarkably well, my friend. You really are.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. As I said, I just do what I do. Reasonable, sensible pricing with a quality service that comes out the end. And I'm lucky as well, because I've always had some really, really good people that I work with. Some who now are household names in the dance music scene. But I've worked with them for a long time, so that's helped. As they've got bigger, it's helped bring more work in for me as well.
Yeah, it's all that guilt by association stuff. That's what I found too.
Yeah,
and that's what helps build your name. And there's something really satisfying, don't you think, that when you work with someone that is at bottom level, shall we say, new up and coming artist, and then they start taking off, and you grow with them, and your success becomes theirs, and there's all that payoff and spin off, and it's a very rewarding thing, particularly when you work. I find anyway, when you work with people from humble beginnings, no one knows about them. They blow up. And they don't blow up because of you per se, but nonetheless, you're still on the journey with them. And it's funny how perception works in people's minds, because they look at the record you worked on, and if the records are done well, all of a sudden they think, oh, he must be fucking really good at this, so we'll go and use him. And that's how it works, right?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it is how it works. People see the artists I work with tag me in the posts. They put a nice post on social media thanking you for your work, or you, because the days of credits on the vinyl and the CDs are gone. No one gives the mix and master and engineer credits anymore, because it's all digital. So it's all that social media stuff where the feedback is given and the applause is given to the people who are working on the project, the side project. But it's all about them. You grow with them. Man, I take great pleasure in working with up and coming kids, and I've lost count of the amount of records that I've got signed for them. You know, whenever a record comes in that I think is good, I pass it on to the labels that I work for. And we had another one, another track signed on Friday last week, or not signed, but or picked up for with a label. Another young guy, he's a track picked up. I think that's about 3 this year, and it's only just February. So that you know, 3 tracks that I've got signed already this start of the year. Last year I've lost count of it, and that's up and coming talent coming through, and you know, not established artists. I think that's part of the buzz, you know, seeing a smile. Well, not seeing the smile, but hearing the joy in these youngsters' voices when I talk to them on the phone. You know, when they've called me to say thanks. You know,
yeah,
it's just
it's beautiful.
Fucking great. Yeah, of course it is. It's all good shit, man. It's all, as I said, it's all how I it's the way that I grew up in this scene. It was tough, but you know, when you had those relationships, people helped you out, you know. And if once you were in, and it was always about, you know, the bring in and helping people out and pushing them up the ladder, helping them out. And so much as that has been lost because we don't have that personal contact anymore. Everybody's just text messaging and emailing and fucking shit posting on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So, I mean, that's another thing with, I think people joke about it and I get so much stick, but I think one of the other things that, another reason why people like working with me, other than that the work is I do quality work, which is, you know, it's not trying to be a bigot or whatever, but I deliver good stuff for the stuff that, you know, for the sound that I work on. But all my communication with people, it's all very personal. I fucking hate emails. I ring people.
Yeah,
I personal call. If they're outside of Australia, I do a conference call on Skype or on Facebook Messenger, and people laugh about it all the time. They post on Facebook taking a piss about, you know, Klaus's call up, you know, you've got a call from me. But I think that the personal thing is the communication is lost in written words so much these days with fucking abbreviated words and emojis and all this kind of stuff. The spoken word and just the way you communicate it. And if you're trying to let someone know that there's something not quite right with their track, you put that in an email, it comes across that you're being a bit of a dick. But if you speak to them in person and you say, look, you do this, it will make your track better, or this is amazing, man, this is a good piece of work. It's all positive, you know?
Yeah,
and so
I agree.
I phone, you know, so many clients. I get them, you know, if we organise times, if they're on a different time zone, so I can have that conversation. And I think that's a big part as well, because I just want people to get the best results as well. It's not just, it's no cash grab here. It's all, you know, if someone can go back and improve on something, I'll get them, I'll send them off, go and fix it, and I'll have that phone conversation with them. So I think that's another thing that's paid off for me as well. It's just that I think that I was going to say, I say personal touch, but it's not even that, because I spent the first fucking, you know, whatever, 20 odd years of my life, that's what we did. You phone people or whatever, and you know, and then the internet comes along and everything's email, and now social media and people, Twitter and everything else, it's all become so impersonal.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with any more about the whole communication thing, mate. And I think that, again, if I was to ask, or if someone asked me why am I successful, as in, you know, the lights are on, the toilet flushes when I come in every day, people just want to feel that you care. And I put up this meme a while ago, which is, you know, whether you like it or not, or realize it or not, I'm a surrogate member of your fucking band or project. And, you know, if it means that maybe I overinvest, well, I'm prepared to risk that. And not to a point where I'm, you know, calling the shots, but people have to really feel that you are into them. And this is one of the great things I picked up in the early days, of just, you know, just slutting around the, you know, studios around New York. And they've noticed that it's a service. You know, they said to me, this is a service industry. You know, this is a service industry. You're not a fucking artist. The artist is doing the work. They write the songs. You're there to bloody frame the picture, not repaint it. But it's all about 80% bullshit, which is what my Rick Essick, who was my initial mentor, said that. And I said, what do you mean by the bullshit? He said, it's the hang time. It's the fact that you do the little extra things for the clients. It's the love for the client. The fact that they're going to work with you more. They're more than likely going to work with someone who's a 90% engineer in terms of technical skill than the 100% who's a complete cunt right? And it's so true. People want to feel that they're appreciated. People want to feel that you want to work with them, and you don't see them as a means to an end. There's not dollar signs and pound signs and euro signs over their heads. So when they feel that, and you say, people know, man, that you can't bullshit a bullshitter. So when they know you're fucking on their page and you really give a shit and fuck, then you're in. You're in. And then after that, it's your responsibility to keep that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So I don't. I come from the. I always remember talking to you about this one. I come from the Jack the Bear school of thought when it comes to my mastering. So my process here is I'm not a straight mastering engineer like you guys, but my stuff is I come from the mixing and mastering. So like I generally mix most of the stuff and master the projects I'm working on. I deliver stuff. That's the dance music world. So there's a slight difference there to generally most other people. But I do come from that Jack the Bear school of thought. Is that I'm not very technical, but I know what's supposed to sound. I know what stuff's supposed to sound like and how it works. And if I would rather go back to the artist and say, I think you should fix this, instead of me trying to do it here, I'm go back, give them the advice. It's going to sound way better. And they go back to the source, fix it there, come back to me. The less I have to do of that kind of, corrective fixing, that kind of thing, the better. It's going to be the better results. And they learn something out of it as well. You turn around and say to them, you know what, that vocal, you need to learn about de-essing. Use a de-esser. Because, so many of the youngsters, they don't know about a lot of the basics, especially in my world, the basics of the recording process. You know what I mean? The use of a gate, the de-essing the vocals, even just the basics of compression, getting release and attack time set right. You go back and you give them advice, 9 times out of 10, they've learned something out of that as well. So it's something I always remember the conversation with you about. It's not always about being the most technical, being able to waffle the fucking, it's such and such attack time and releases that. It's all about feel and vibe for me. And if I can communicate that back to the client, it's much better. They can go off, fix it, come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think particularly now we're dealing, the vast majority of my clients are like yours, mixing in the box, mixing at home. They usually got pretty humble setup. Sometimes they don't have much of a setup at all. Usually it's a laptop and headphones. But I think any constructive feedback that we can give to people, and we preface any feedback I'll give is always prefaced by, hey, listen, I'm on your team, and I'm just going to offer you something to consider, because if maybe this is something that's going to help you in your room. And I always would say, look, I imagine in your room this sounds fucking amazing. I'm sure that if I was there right now, I'd be going, fuck, this is just genius. But outside of here, it's not quite translating. So that information is going to help them know how to make the adjustments, and that's going to help them make better sounding records, which is going to help you make better masters, which, so I've got an agenda too, which is I want my day to go smoothly and well and be efficient. So, but again, that's down to that communication thing, mate. Giving them constructive feedback from the place of, I care, I really give a fuck, I really, and you can help them do better, make better records, understand their process, understand their monitoring, et cetera, then it's win-win all around.
You give those clients the feedback 9 times out of 10, and I'll probably say that 9 times out of 10, saying quite a bit in this one, but it's true. 9 times out of 10, the next one they send you, they've improved on, because they've learned something from the time before. That's all what I always say. It's like when I'll send them back a finished product, and they'll say, yeah, this is great, and I'm like, okay, so use that as a reference for the next time, Jack. People should be referencing against tracks anyway, but take what I've done there, use that as a reference in your next one. And if you're not anywhere near that, you're doing it wrong, because it's a step up every time. You should always be moving forward. Always, just always be looking forward. Look forward. Keep pushing forward. So if that feedback that I give people is gonna give the improvement, then it's worth doing it. It's worth just the phone call. It's worth moving that session over. You know what I mean? Because I work the same as everybody else. I have my sessions, I book a session out or whatever. But for me, I can always just go, okay, well, I'll move you over to later in the week. You go off and fix that. It's going to be better for you. You'll end up with a better result, and you'll learn out of it. And for me, whatever. If I haven't got anything to fill that slot, it comes back later on, doesn't it? It's not, it's not always about the dollar signs. It's It's the satisfaction of your client getting that, getting that nice email at the end saying thanks for the feedback. That made a big difference.
Yeah, and sometimes just helping people for the sake of helping them. I've had one guy a couple of weeks ago called in who he told me straight up. He said, "Listen, our producer is going to master himself. No worries at all. No, last time I checked, there was no law at state, local, or federal level that made that illegal." And because, like you, we'd have this no obligation policy. We'll check your mixes and listen to them because it helps us and it helps you. But I wanted to go through the process of doing it for this guy, even though he told me straight up, this is what we're doing. And for no other reason than just goodwill, mate. Because as you know, word of mouth is the best advertising we have. And social media helps and all, whatever, but word of mouth and goodwill, it's everything. And sometimes doing those things where you know from the get-go, there ain't going to be a fucking cracker in it for you, but the goodwill it creates has this rippling effect.
Yeah. 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 I 100% agree. I mean, I've had to change a little bit with that, just because with the group, you get bombed so much with music to listen to that, like, I get sent so much music, which is not, just people asking me for feedback now. If I was to listen to every track that I got sent, I'd never be able to make a living. So I've had to rein that in a bit, but I've reined it in, but I just have to go about it a different way. But I do agree with you. It all comes back on you anyway. It's all good. It's all good vibes, and it comes back around. But you get to a point is once you start offering out loads to everyone, suddenly you got like 15 tracks in your inbox, and you got like a full week. And I used to feel like a cunt, but I've had to just realise that I've got a family as well. So I'm just honest with people. I say, look, I'm really busy. If you can wait a week, I'll give you some feedback. Whereas before, I just used to jump on everything and do it all. So I have had a little bit of a change on that. But and it also depends on the communication from people as well. I'm a bit old school like that, Tone. I'll give people my time, but I want to be a little bit of respect coming back. A nice please and thank you in there, polite emails, not just listen to this track for me, or check this, you know what I mean? Just the randomly getting sent a link on Facebook. It's just make a little bit of effort, and you'll get the effort back. So I'm a bit old fashioned like that.
I agree. If I ever get anything which is just a demand like that, usually, well, I ignore it for the most part, to be honest with you, mate.
Yeah.
Or if I'm feeling a little bit cheeky, I'll just put good thanks. How are you?
Just like that. When someone adds you on Facebook and it's the first thing they do is send you a track to listen to, asking for feedback, and when they don't even say ask how your day's going or anything else. But I think that's just a media generation now. I think that's just how it's done. There's no interpersonal action anymore, which I said it goes back to why I set the blog up in the first place. Of that being in the record shop, speaking to someone in person,
Yeah.
If everyone comes across as awkward most of the time now.
Yeah, no shit. Now listen, how's it going in the new place? You work from home, so you've setting up a new room, and that's all sort of happening. So how's that process? How's the process going? And how'd you go in terms of transitioning from the old place, which obviously was a great place and you knew it like the back of your hand, into something new and maintaining a flow of work and output and keeping your clients happy?
I took my time. So we've been in here. We moved into the new house in September. I didn't rush. I kept the other space running. So my old studio's rented out by someone else now. But I just took my time, and also I had to work out what it was I was going to do. You know what I mean? We had some issues with the move. It kind of ended up being more expensive than we thought we were. Just personal stuff basically with that. So the original plans that I had to convert the downstairs workshop that I've got into a studio had to be put on hold. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this. I'll keep the old space. So fuck it, typical Klaus sulking. I had all these plans of building this big space again and doing what I wanted. So I sulked for a couple of weeks and then got back on with work. The traveling was killing me. So then I was like, okay, I've got to solve this out. So I took over one of the spare rooms, and Richard Beltner from Free Energy Devices we had a long chat of what we're going to do. So we've gone ceiling to wall with Bradford, ceiling to roof. Sorry, ceiling to roof. What am I talking? Ceiling to floor with Bradford polyester panels, 100mm thick, as a tester. And then I've covered the whole room, and then we've recorded, and it's come out fucking well, actually. Came out so well that I started moving pieces of gear in, and was working 50-50, and now I've moved in completely. It took me a couple of weeks really to get my head around what was going on. Still a little bit more fine tuning needs to be done. I've got some active bass tracks coming in, PSI. I'm going to try those out for a couple of nodes that I got, and I'm trying to work out my bigger mains. At the moment, I've just got OS Acoustics near fields with 2 subs. But I'm having the problems with the 2 subs, which I always thought I was going to have. But I've got some Adams over on demo. I've done the ATCs, trying to get some PSIs in. Yeah, look, it's gone really well. It's gone surprisingly well. I've got the room sounding really, really good. And it just shows you what you can do when you've got a tight budget, basically, which is what happened. I had a tight budget to work with, and, I'm lucky that I haven't had to, we're on an isolated block, so I haven't got to worry about neighbours. So that the noise bleed is not a problem, and noise coming in is not an issue. So all I had to worry about was acoustics on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been an experience, mate. It's stressful, but I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad that's what I've done. And the plan is, I'll sit this out for 12, 18 months and see what happens after that. And then I've got the plans already done for the conversion downstairs. But at the moment, everything's sounding really good. No one's saying anything. All my clients, everything sounds the same. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the one thing for me that I learned was that I can deliver some fucking good product in the box. So the first few things, because I was like staggering the analog gear in, because obviously I was still working at the other space, was I was replacing a few analog pieces in the box, and suddenly realized how much improvement there is in the sound. I know people, there'll be mastering engineers that will fucking argue with me till the cows come home on that. But for me, plugins have really come a long way in the last 2 years, and this is the first time I've really noticed it. And you can deliver the product 100%. Don't give a fuck what anybody else says. For what I do, you can deliver it in the box 100%.
Well, I don't think you really should give a fuck about what other people think, because at the end of the day, all that counts, mate, are clients and people that hold the purse strings who are paying you for your services. And you know what? I think you're right. There was a time when digital first started, all the purists were all poo-pooing on it. And look, I'm an analog guy too, but I just believe in this. Everything's a fucking tool, mate, and it's what gets the job done to get the result. And I agree with you. If I was starting from scratch today, Klaus, if I had like absolutely fuck all to start with, I know I could do a job on a laptop and a really good pair of headphones and a great plug-in suite, and that's how I'd get started. And I know I'd be able to deliver a good quality product. I probably wouldn't be able to charge what I do now, but that doesn't matter. I think the ROI on that setup would be fabulous. And I
lost your sound again, mate.
You lost my sound again? Maybe it's internet connection. That's all right.
Yeah, hold on.
We'll just keep at it. Can you hear me now, mate?
I can hear you. It keeps dropping out. You know what it is? I think my mum's trying to call from England because I'm on the internet, and I think it's the background call and it keeps taking over.
Yeah. How is your mum? Now I can't hear you. Now I've lost your audio. I wish I could lip read, Klaus.
Yeah. We got me.
Yeah, I got you now. I got you now, mate.
Okay.
It's all good. How is your mum?
Yeah, she's good. Everyone's good. Hold on. I just can't hear you. You're like.
I can still see.
You know what? Give me a sec.
Yeah, I'll give you a sec. I'll give you all the time. You can hear me now, right?
you know what it is? You've disappeared. You're
Yeah.
coming out. The volume's dropped. Every time, I don't know how you turn the volume up in this app. It's like,
Well, there's no volume.
it's not on speaker anymore.
There's no volume on the on this app. It should just work. Depends on internet connection. I think it's your dear old mum. She probably wants to get through to her son and have a conversation.
She can wait. It is her calling. That's what it's been. Mum calling twice because it's on the phone. Give me a sec.
Yeah, that's all good, mate.
I can hear you. Let me get my.
Yeah, I was just thinking. We discussed this a little while ago, just as a concept, and now just listening to this podcast, I'm thinking you and I want to go and do a few cities this year. I'm going to go in the country and do a few events. I want to come to Sydney, and you and I should do something, man. We should put a little event.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you and me. Let's get.
I'd always be up for that.
Let's get some. Let's get some people in Sydney together, some guest speakers, and let's do something, man, for the kids. You know, something that's get a normal, just something to cover costs for people and not to profit or anything. And let's give these kids a half a day, whatever, and give them some value and give them some one-on-one time and advice and input and a bit of love, mate.
Yeah. You just gone really quiet for me. That's all.
Yeah.
Last time it came back, but it's not coming back this time.
That's all right. Yeah. Maybe you know what? Maybe in hindsight, maybe we should have got you to put some headphones on your ears. That would have been better. Maybe.
I'm going to go and give me a second. I'm going to go and grab some headphones.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No worries at all. Yeah. I'll give you all the time you need. So I guess this is where I sit on mine. So for those of you who aren't aware of Klaus's work, I suggest you go online and check him out. Have a look at his forum. Have a look at how he runs his business. And it's a real good example for those of you who are starting out that I really encourage you to go out and do your thing. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need much anything. You are now living in the time of the internet.
Let me put these in.
Yeah, rightio.
I was wondering what it...
Yeah, I was singing your praises, mate. Singing your praises.
Yeah, so it's my mum calling.
There you go. Now, bless her.
Yeah, that's better.
There we go.
That was twice. She's ringing to speak to the grandkids, you know.
Of course.
And she uses Facebook Messenger. And when the Facebook Messenger rings in,
yep,
it's cutting your audio out. That's why. Yeah. I just saw the missed calls. There you go. Right, we're back on.
Even though I don't stream live, I keep everything just uncut in this podcast, mate, because I couldn't be. I just let it go. Whatever.
Excuse me. Sorry. There you go.
Right.
It's an uncut. But anyway, Mum's good. Yeah, she's. Dad, I think Dad passed away. It's nearly 10 years now. So I've been trying to get her out here, but hopefully she'll come this year. She's been out a couple of times. She's still working. She's 77, still working basically full time.
Wow.
Not because of need, but it keeps her active.
Yeah,
loves it.
You
keeps
need
the brain active.
Absolutely, and gets them out of the house and socialising with people and connecting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what kills people off. You know, I mean, years and years ago, when the retirement age was 65 and everyone retired, people would die 3-4 years later because they had nowhere to go, nothing to do, and that was the end of them, mate. Because once you lose your sense of purpose, you're fucked. Yeah,
well, that's what we think happened to Dad. He'd only been retired a few months. I think that was half of what led to it all, really. But so she's good. So I think she's coming out to see the kids this Christmas. So she's probably ringing up to tell me about flights and stuff. But anyway, so yes, come to Sydney, do something. I'm all up for it. Sorry, reiterating, going back to the comments I heard before. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all right. We'll do that, mate. I'll give you a call during the week. I've had a surprising amount of people now hitting me up. It's wonderful, mate, that now are saying, hey, can I help? Can I help? It's funny how it works when you start doing something on your own. You are on your own. And then as you keep persevering with what you're doing, and then slowly but surely people come out of the woodwork because they want to help. They want to get involved. And it's lovely when people do want to get on the wagon and give you a helping hand with this or that, particularly with the stuff that you're not good at, which in my case is everything. so I'm... well, not quite that bad, but, things like social media and event organizing, just those things that are out of my pay grade and people are willing to say, look, I'm good at this. Could you want some help with that? And it's lovely, mate. The people want to come on
Well,
board.
it resonates with people. That's why. You know, stuff resonates with people, and they appreciate what you. The same with the blog. We've got a good team of people that help out. You know, obviously the mods in the group, and Hilton that helps. He runs all the back end of the blog and all the IT aspects of it all. It's because it resonates with them.
I met Hilton up in Cairns. I was up there sort of in the middle late last year, and he's a champion, mate. He's such a fucking champion.
He is. Yeah. Absolute legend, mate. And he does so much for me. Keeps the blog up and running. All the IT stuff as well as my own personal IT studio stuff. I swapped back to PC. Not back to PC. I swapped to PC after being an Apple user since the mid 90s or whatever. I swapped to Windows, and
how's that
kept
for
me
you?
up and running. Yeah, I'm actually a big fan now. I'm a big fan, but it was a problem. Problem when I first started. I thought there's the kids coming in. The little one was coming in to say hello.
Oh, no worries, mate. It's a family-friendly show. It's a family-friendly show, mate.
I think Poppy just pulled them out. Yeah, look, I love it. I don't care anyone knocking. Mate, it's all the tools do the fucking job. It makes no difference. All these fanboys, PC or Mac argument is silly. But what I will say, Macs are overpriced and overrated now, and they've forgotten about their pro users. You know, it's the pro users that when they were struggling to survive, it was the pro users that kept them going. And then all of a sudden, the iPhone comes out and they're making all that money of them, and they've forgotten about the pro users. And even now, it's just a con. I always feel like I have this vision in so I put Steve Jobs on a pedestal, and I always think if he was still around and involved, he wouldn't allow it to happen because he'd appreciate the pro users. But they rip you off. So the Windows 10 and a Windows machine is you bang for buck. It's crazy. So I wouldn't go back to Apple at all.
Well, I think if I was ever going to go that way, I'd go see Vince. Is it the bulletproof PC that he builds? Is it Vince?
Vin, yeah.
Vin. He's a gun, that guy, when it comes to all that shit, huh?
Mate, absolute fucking legend. I got one of his systems. Yeah. You're talking about one of the best PC audio DAW experts in the world, and you got him in Melbourne.
Yeah, that's right.
And the systems he built are fucking mint. Everything tested, top to bottom. All the components are tested, put in for audio. Systems turn up with all your plugins and everything on, or everything tested. All your drivers, your sound card all ready to go. Your conversion or whatever you're doing. Yeah, he's the man. He's I've had quite a few changes actually. This last 4 years on that. I went from being a long time Logic Pro Tools user. I went to Studio One. That was a big step. And I've recently left Studio One and I've gone to Reaper, which I love.
I've heard real good things about it.
Yeah, it was a forced move. I love Studio One, but the last couple of updates they've balked their CPU usage. They've got their multi-threading. They've got a real issue with multi-threading on plugins, and I've got like a 12-core i9. You're talking 3.5, 4 grand's worth of computer, and I could only run a few instances of certain plugins. So I put Reaper on, and it's just shit all over it. Absolutely shit all over Studio One. So I swapped over to that. I've been probably only a few weeks now, but super impressed by that. That is one hell of a DAW, and I cannot believe more people don't use it. It's so fucking good. It's as deep as you want to make it. It can be a little bit kind of overpowering when you first load it up. There's a lot of options, but I spent a weekend watching a few videos on YouTube and came out the other side much better for it. And now I'm a Reaper fanboy, I've got to say.
Got to find something that works for you, mate. I'm at a point where I'm not quite ready to change, but I reckon next 12 to 18 months I might be ready to look at something different. Because I'm just sick of
yeah, I think you have to do Reaper. Your only other options, where you're gonna go, like Sequoia or Sample Tube. I've got Sample Tube because Sequoia. That's it for us over here. You're looking at $3,000 to buy it for what? That's for a few plugins inside it. Just generally, I think most of it's the same as Sample Tube. And for my plays with it, I mean, I bought it thinking, okay, I'll go Sample Tube and maybe go Sequoia if I'm a big fan of it. And it was fucking the new update, the version 12 or whatever they're on now. Let me have a look. Hold on. It's Sample Tube Pro X4. It's buggy as fuck. It was just crashing everywhere. So that's the one thing with Reaper. It's rock solid. CPU usage is crazy. If you don't need sweet plugins, obviously, you know, a lot of these youngsters want their, you know, they're using the Ableton Suite plugins to the EQ8 and all that stuff that comes with it. If you don't need that and you've got like a good bundle to put in it, there's nothing to touch it. And it's for, you know, there's a commercial license for $60 if you earn under, you know, if you make less than $25,000, which covers a lot of these youngsters, and it's only $200 if you're a pro user like us. And it's a lot. It's a honor system. There's no, you haven't got to prove anything. You just, you know, for me, I just went, okay, well, you know, it's an honor system, and they're making a good system, so you give them the money they ask for. That's the way I like it. I like that kind of mentality, and development system that they've got is really good. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, buddy, my laptop's going to die in a second, and
all right, mate.
But we've had a really good chat, and we're going to have another one soon because it's always good chatting with you, my friend. Well, I want to say thank you for your time today, buddy. And again, I just want to reiterate how fucking proud I'm of you, how well you've done. It's been a beautiful thing to witness. And you're one of those, you know, because I remember you from the start, from the get-go, and I love seeing youngsters having a crack and then watching their journey, and as they just blossom and become movers and shakers. It's a very rewarding thing. Whether I've had anything to do with them or not, it's irrelevant, because I've seen a lot of people grow and become fucking amazing what they've done. Just to see their journey as an older cat, it's a beautiful thing to witness. It really is. So,
no, thanks very much, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, you've definitely had a nice part to play in my development, and I always thank you for that. Told you that many times.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, it's good to see you doing this mastering music, mastering life. I've seen some very positive stuff come out of that, and some really good posts. As you know,
yeah, thanks, mate.
I like, you know, your journey now. It's, you know, watching your journey developing. You know, going in a different direction. It's nice to watch that as well. But I do appreciate the kind words, mate. Thank you for having me on. Sorry about the sound shit earlier on.
No, that's all right, buddy. It's all good. You know, it was good. It was very productive, and I think there's a lot of good stuff there that you shared with particularly for the youngsters. We'll get you on again later in the year. We'll talk during the week about heading something up in Sydney, but we'll definitely we'll definitely do something. And I'll leave you be, mate. And I wish you continued success, and give your mum a big hug and a kiss, or when you see her, or just send her my regards.
I will do.
And I'll be talking to you soon, Klaus. All right, cheers, mate. Thank you so much, Klaus.
All right, mate.
See you, brother.
Cheers.
Bye, mate. Klaus Heavyweight Hill. What a wonderful guest. What a wonderful dude. He's got so much knowledge, that guy, and he's not short of information and knowledge, and he's not afraid to share it, which is great. And that's the one thing I really appreciate about him. So I'm ready to get out of here, and I just want to say, first of all, thank you very much to the Cave Hub in Bond Street, Abbotsford. Thank you very much. Thanks, Rob, for all the things you do for the Melbourne scene. It's a wonderful place if you want to go and do rehearsals, whether you want to do pre-production. They've got a great PA rehearsal space there, and it's also a fantastic venue. It's fully licensed. It's got everything you need in a really cool inner city place, particularly in that really nice sweet spot of capacity, about 300, 350 people. I remember seeing Butterfly Effect, and I was doing these little gigs before the national tour, and it was a packed house, and it was just such a good vibe. It was just, you know, just bigger than a really small venue, but, you know, not a great big barn type venue. So it's a really, really nice size, and they look after people, and they're a good bunch of fellas. And also to Amiga MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, George, Thank you very much, mate, for supporting us. And for those of you who want to get into doing MMA, kickboxing, wrestling, self-defense, go down and see George. George was number 3 in the world in his weight division. He fought in the UFC. He's a badass motherfucker. He's a lovely guy. He's a great teacher. It's a great environment, really friendly people down there, no attitude, no bullshit. And it's just fun. It really is fun. So you don't have to be a super duper warrior. It's not about being an elite athlete. Just if you want to go down for fitness and a good social spot, Amiga MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Down Street, Collingwood. Okay, I'm out of here. Love you fuckers. Thanks for your support. And as always, say, please, be nice to each other. But more importantly, be nice to yourselves. And we'll see you on the flip side.